Hey guys, back out from a pad here. Guys, I don't think there's anything more fulfilling than being able to walk out into your garden and pick up fruit or to just see the plants growing and the flowers and the insects. But guys, also there's nothing more frustrating than, spending a lot of money to plant things, but then they don't grow or they don't thrive. So one thing a plant needs, apart from sun and water and good soil, well, plants definitely need good soil. And sometimes, especially in my garden, since my soil was all sand before, I had to use a lot of fertilizer, organic fertilizer, to get the plant growing, and that can get really expensive. And this past year, I didn't really fertilize too much because I was trying to see what the plants would do. And some of the plants thrived, like my guava. I had a ton of guava. But guys, and my papayas, but other plants like my star fruit kind of looks a little bit yellow and didn't really do much. So that was kind of disappointing. So guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about what we can do to fertilize our soil. But guys, I want to do this for free. It's really, for me, it's been really expensive. It can be really expensive to buy organic fertilizers. Regular fertilizer is expensive in itself, but organic is way more expensive. And I made that choice not to purchase anymore. That going forward, I'm not going to purchase anymore. I have too much green material in my garden, too much natural material to have to buy. I'm going to use what I have. So in today's video, I'm going to go through at least 6 or 7 items that we all have, maybe more, in our garden right now that we can use to make natural fertilizer. So let's get started. Natural fertilizers, free in your garden. Put on my handy dandy protective goggles, even though one arm is missing there. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to look at Mexican sunflower, guys. Yes, it's not just beautiful and spectacular over the chicken coop, guys. It is gold for the garden. So I'm not letting girls out yet. They are chomping at the bits trying to get out, but they're going to have to stay in here because I don't want to get them hurt. So I'd already just started chopping back my Mexican sunflower. So Mexican sunflower is spectacular in the garden. As a matter of fact, I started 2 days ago, so I wish I didn't because the leaves are falling here. But I'm going to just scrape up the leaves and put them around the trees. So I've watched several other YouTubers. I've read up articles. Epic Gardener actually spoke about this, and so did Andre the farmer. He's based in Orlando, Florida. But they mentioned that Mexican sunflower is pound for pound as good for the soil as chicken manure. And guys, chicken manure is one of the very best things you can do for your soil. So I had planted a Mexican sunflower back here, and it was just one small plant, and as you can see, guys, it took over. I had just cut this back a couple months ago, and it's all the way up in the air again. So I think I'm gonna chop this all the way down. The thing about Mexican sunflower, it can spread if you don't control it. As you can see, that is where I originally had my plant, and the branches go across and fall, and everywhere it touches the ground, it makes roots, and now it's all the way over to the fence. As a matter of fact, a couple months ago, it started pushing through the fence, and you can see where it pushed through my neighbor's fence, and now it's coming back over to my side. So what you do with the Mexican sunflower, multiple ways to use it. You can actually use it to just chop and drop directly around your plants. Also, it's really good if you add this to your compost pile. So I do have a compost bin. I'm going to be adding some Mexican sunflower, and I'm also going to be making Mexican sunflower tea. So I'm going to be using it multiple ways. Mexican sunflower has spectacular flowers. If you guys remember any of my videos from last year, you'll see the huge Mexican sunflower above my chicken coop that's covered with yellow flowers. So if you have a huge property, you can plant some of these and just let them grow for the flowers. And which is what I used it for last year. But guys, I am ready to use this as a fertilizer because I want to start saving some money. Plus, homemade is always better. So I put the chickens away just so it doesn't fall on them. I'm keeping an eye on Storm to make sure she's far from the branches. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and cut. Yes. All right. So I'm gonna go through. Mexican sunflower is very easy to cut. You can even break it with your hand. It's very easy. It's very easy to break. And I know a lot of you may not have Mexican sunflower, but you can do this with weeds and with other plants. I want to show you with the Mexican sunflower, everywhere it touches ground, it grows roots. And that's why it's really important. After I chop this back, I'm gonna go through and pull up all the, come a little closer. I'm gonna have to go through and everywhere that you see it touching ground, I'm gonna have to pull it up because as you can see, this is like a whole tangled mess. All right, so of course my phone died, but you can see what I did here. We have a mountain of Mexican sunflower. I'm gonna haul some over to chop on to lay around the trees. What I'm gonna do is after I remove all this, I'm gonna come back and cut some more roots that I can, as much roots as I can, and I'm gonna pull as much out of the ground as possible. We had a bit of a downpour. It's the next day. I hauled out a whole bunch of the leaves and I put it, like the green branches and the leaves, and I put them around trees. What I'm gonna do is mulch. I'm gonna actually mulch up this wood. Some of the bigger pieces I won't be able to mulch, but most of these small branches I'm just gonna leave it here for a couple weeks, let it dry out and mulch it. And I had a brilliant idea, guys. Now when you think about how rich this soil is, not just because of the Mexican sunflower that is breaking down, but also because of the 1 year or 2 year, not I haven't been here 2 years, but the year plus of the chickens living here and pooping and peeing. So this is super rich soil, and it's a pretty big area. Now that the Mexican sunflower is gone or cut down, it's a pretty big area. So I'm gonna clean out here, mulch it up, and I think I'm gonna put a bunch of bananas and probably find another big fruiting tree to plant over here. That is gonna be really great. What I'll have to do is protect the bananas and the fruit trees as they grow until they get more sturdy, because these chickens, they eat everything. So let's move on to the next wonderful free fertilizer, and of course it's the chickens, it's their manure. So what I do is whenever I'm planting any new trees or making any beds, I scrape up, I come around their coop area and I just scrape up the ground, because all around here there's a lot of chicken poop and in the soil that's mixed in with the soil. I also go into their coop and I take out their bedding. Hold on. So where they actually roost at night always has a lot of poop. So let's see what they left for us last night. Yeah, you see, that's where they roost. Where they roost is always full of poop. Where they lay the eggs is usually clean, but the roost in the area is full of poop. So that's another excellent form of fertilizer. Chicken manure is like the best fertilizer. All right, so that's the second one. And then before we even leave the coop, guys, here is another excellent fertilizer. So you guys remember a few months ago, or maybe close to a year ago, I did a video on cerassee. Cerassee is, or otherwise known as bitter melon, grows wild throughout my property. Cerassee is a phenomenal medicinal tea, but guys, there are times when I get so much cerassee, like right now, everything is coming up, that you can actually use this as like a liquid fertilizer. So what I did, and I won't go too much into it since I did a video. I'll drop a link to the video. But what I did was, at the end of the season, I picked a whole bunch of cerassee and I added it to a bin and I made compost tea out of it. And here are the little fruit. These are the fruit that come from the cerassee. The fruit bursts open and there are red seeds inside. Let me see, this one just burst. Let's look at this one. Hold on. There are red seeds inside, and these seeds fly everywhere, and that's why I always have cerassee. No matter how much I try to collect the cerassee, it always happens. So this is excellent. You can mix this with your Mexican sunflower. You can mix it with fishing mulch if you have it, or you can just use it by itself. And the chickens actually love the little red seeds. All right, so guys, so that's 3 fertilizers before I even left the chicken run area. We had a Mexican sunflower, the chicken manure, and the cerassee. So 3 fertilizers that can be used as directly on the soil, or it can be used as teas. All right, so the next fertilizer. Oh, and guys, you can see I've already taken some of the Mexican sunflower. I dropped some beside my papaya tree. I dropped some in my bed, in my veggie bed around my peppers, because my chickens are constantly digging it up. So you can see I've already gone through and started just dropping it. My okra bed, all the mulch is gone. The chickens completely dug up all my okra. The okras have been doing really, really well this season, but hey, I can never have too many okras, so it's all good. So I've already chopped the Mexican sunflower, dropped it around. I'm also going to make some tea later in the video, but let's move on to our next compost. So our next fertilizer, and we are walking at it. So if you guys look around my garden, my grass is basically full of weeds, and my grass is very high. It's been 2 weeks since, and it's been raining, so everything is like super high. So guys, this is another phenomenal fertilizer. What I have been doing here is, like, I would weed whack and just leave it in place. And also, if you like, I don't use any chemicals even on my grass. So as you can see, my grass is really full of weeds because there's no chemicals. But this is an excellent fertilizer. You can mow the lawn down. You can put it in your beds, which I don't do. I personally don't put them directly in my beds, because grass, of course, and these flowers have seeds, and then my bed is going to be full of weeds. But you can mow these, and you can add it to your compost bin, or mow it and add it to your liquid fertilizer. So you don't have to have Mexican sunflower, you don't have to have chickens or cerassee. You can just mow your weeds, pull your weeds, mow your weeds, add them to a liquid fertilizer, or add them to water as a liquid fertilizer, or put them directly in your compost. So guys, right here, it's full of fertilizer. Another phenomenal fertilizer. My goodness, guys, I have so much in this garden. So for that weeds is number 4. Number 5 that I'm walking by right now, this is my cowpeas. Cowpeas is a phenomenal nitrogen fixer in the soil. I have one cowpea plant that basically took over this entire trellis. Look at it, guys. This trellis is, I believe, 20 or 30 feet, I can't remember. No, 22 feet long, and it's covered, going into my neighbor's garden. So I'm still harvesting peas. My cowpeas are still bearing. I'm still harvesting peas every week. So I'm going to wait for it to completely finish. But this is an excellent nitrogen fixer. So what I'm going to do is, after it's finished, I'm going to cut it up and mulch it up. I can either use it as mulch around the trees, or I can add it to my compost bin, or I can add it as liquid fertilizer, guys. So you're going to hear that theme. Take the natural stuff you have in your garden and use it. And this year, last year, I've been here like 20 months. So the first year, I spent a lot of money on the soil, because my soil, believe it or not, is basically like, it's more sandy soil. It's like sugar sand. People say, oh, you have good soil because everything grows so well. Guys, believe me, I had to put a lot of work into getting things to grow here. Every single plant that I planted, I used good soil or cow manure or the Kellogg's garden mix and fertilizer to get them going. This year, I noticed, yes, some plants did extremely well, and the place looks lush. But like, I didn't get any mangoes this year, and certain fruit trees did really well. Other fruit trees, I think could have done well better. But you know, that's where fertilization comes in. You know, I'm hoping as I add these natural fertilizers that are going to break down over time, that it's going to build up the soil more and I'll have abundant fruit. So guys, number 6, I think, guys, this is comfrey. And as a matter of fact, Mexican sunflower is not known as a comfrey of the South. So comfrey, I really use this because it's for its healing properties. It's known as bone knit. It helps the bones to heal faster. It helps you if you have pain. But comfrey is another phenomenal chop and drop. Comfrey has a super long taproot that pulls in all the nutrients up into the leaves. You can just take the leaves and just chop them. You can just break the leaves off or cut them off and then drop them around your plants. So this is my little bananas beside it. You can just chop it, drop it along the bananas, and the nutrients will break down and it will go into the soil, and of course feed the plant. Comfrey, they said it's supposed to spread. My comfrey, I must have a different kind of comfrey because mine stays exactly where I planted. This one does not spread at all. I have taken pieces of root and planted it in different places and it's come up. Comfrey grows very easily. You can even have the smallest piece of root and it will grow. But I really use mine mainly for its healing properties, so I'm not going to chop any more off. I use this more mainly for the healing properties. I just take the dried leaves off, but I'm going to save the green leaves. I still have one back here and I have another one in another bed, but this I use mainly medicinally. So that right there we have what, six items that we can use. So as we come over to my banana tree and my naseberry, guys, you can see I have Mexican sunflower dropped everywhere. Mexican sunflower here. As a matter of fact, this is a Mexican sunflower that popped up from seed, but it's in between the bananas. I'm definitely going to move that. Or we can just chop it and drop it. So another great fertilizer, guys, believe it or not, are these banana leaves. As the bananas grow and the bottom leaves age, I literally just break the leaves off and drop it around the root. You can see other ones that I've dropped there. All the potassium, all the minerals from that go into growing your banana tree, growing your bananas, that can go chop and go right back into the ground. I also use my banana leaves sometimes around my tomatoes and peppers and other plants that need that extra potassium. So you can see here, even those the pieces that fell out the banana flower, I don't pick those up. I just leave them there, and then they will again break down and feed the soil, so my bananas can get even nicer and fatter. And guys, you can do that for other trees. You can chop and drop other trees. Like I just trimmed my mulberry tree, and as long as the leaves aren't diseased, you can just drop them right below it. Palm branches fall down, leave them right there, guys. They'll eventually break down. You can go over those with a lawnmower if you want to chop it up for it to escalate the growth, escalate the breakdown. You can do that. Just mow it over and it will eventually break down. So here in this area, guys, you see all these weeds that I have. What I'm gonna do is, as I mulch my Mexican sunflower, I'm gonna wait for it to dry out and mulch it. I'm gonna mulch around the trees with the Mexican sunflower. I'm also gonna use cardboard. Cardboard number 7 is another great, it's not really a fertilizer, but it really does help to suppress the weeds. The weeds will break down, feed the soil, and great fertilizer. So you can also use certain plants. So like I have like my chaya leaves. I have my chaya leaves. I have my katuk leaves. Certain plants that are like overly abundant in production and also abundant in nutrition. Moringa. I have so many plants that are super healthy for us. Papaya, the leaves have papain, which is a very important mineral for us. But guys, all these things can break down in the soil. So like I have my papaya tree here. I want to feed my papaya tree. what better thing to feed a papaya with than taking off a few leaves, dropping it around the plant, and that will allow the plant to focus more on producing fruit. You can see these are my little suckers, little baby suckers, and guys, these are taller than me. I'm 5'6". These little suckers that I planted last year are taller than me, and you can see they are now beginning to blossom. So you can take, papayas don't need all these leaves. You can take some of the lower leaves as long as they're healthy. Thank God so far these leaves don't have any disease on them. You can take some leaves, drop them at the bottom. I'm gonna show you my compost bin, and then we're gonna make some compost tea. This is my compost bin that I bought a couple of months back. You can just add all the materials that we just removed to the compost bin. You can see I have a lot of food items in there. I have dried up leaves, I have cardboard, I have everything in this bin. Just make sure you keep it moist. So like every now and then I spritz it with some water if I see it's getting too dry, and just give it a spin so I don't have to physically turn it. Another option is I had a compost pile back there where you see all those dried up Mexican sunflower stick that from the last time I harvested. I also dump lots of weeds and materials over there. So usually when I need extra soil, I just dig it up from there if I don't feel like buying soil. So that's basically used up. But the soil back there is very rich because it's a year and a half of throwing food items, weeds, all those things over there. So you can add these things directly to your compost pile. And finally, I'm going to show you how you can add these to make tea. Just for the purpose of this video, I'm using this bucket. However, I do have an old 5-gallon drink cooler that has a spigot at the bottom that I'm going to use. So guys, it's as simple as getting whatever you have. If you have an old cooler with a spigot, that's like the best, because then when you want to extract the tea, you can just use the spigot. I just elevated this. Whenever you do this, the very best way to me is to elevate it on something. That way, when you have your spigot, like say the spigot stops here, you can rest your watering can underneath it and take out whatever you need. So guys, this is how you make your tea. This is how I make my tea. Everybody has different ways. You can add fancy stuff, but to just get you started, guys, this is the easiest way just to get started. You add your weeds. I added my comfrey. I added comfrey. I added a bunch of Spanish needle. I added some of my cerassee. I added the Mexican sunflower to my tea. I fill it up with water, and plus a whole bunch of weeds. I just pulled some random weeds to stick it in here. But guys, you can use whatever you have. Whatever you can use, grass clippings. You add it here. You get a cover. You cover this over. In 1 week, guys, you're gonna see this breaking down. So here is how you use this. Once it's fermented for a week, you can do it half and half. So half liquid to half tea, and then you fill up your container with the liquid halfway, and then you fill the rest up with water. Then you can use that to water your plants. If you're putting something in there that you're kind of worried about, like I could add chicken manure in there and let that break down, or fish manure. If you don't want to water your leaves, that's fine. I usually just water around the plants anyway. This is the liquid fertilizer. It's going to go directly into the soil. It's going to feed the soil really fast. As time goes on, the liquid will get stronger and stronger, right? So after you wait 2-3 weeks, after a while, this water is going to get brown and murky, and it's going to really, really stink. So for 2 weeks, you're going to dilute it 2 parts water to 1 part liquid fertilizer. 3 weeks, it's going to be 3 parts water to 1 part, because you don't want to make it too strong, right? So as I said, this is just for testing purposes, or just for recording purposes. I'm gonna get my cooler and add it here, so I can add more weeds, more sunflower, more everything, and add it to here. As a matter of fact, speaking of sunflower, guys, I have a bunch of sunflower plants. These popped up in the garden. I put them in pots. These are all in pots, but you can see how big they're getting. They're like 4 or 5 feet tall, I had them on my Etsy store for a while, but now they're too big. This one, yeah, look at this one. It touched, all it did was touch the ground and it's forming roots again. But this is actually in this pot. Oh my gosh, and look how big this is now. So these really grow extremely easily from seed or from cuttings, but these that I have here, these are the ones that popped up in my garden from seed and I transplanted them here. Anyway guys, as you can see, when you look around, there's tons of vegetation and weeds and leaves that we can use to fertilize our garden. We don't have to wait to have money to do it. We just need to get started, and hope this encourage you guys to get started. Go on out there and see what you have around your garden that you can pull down. I have a whole bunch of vines that I think are that cause my husband an allergic reaction. Those are growing on the fence, but the plants won't be allergic to them. So I could use those vines, add them to my compost, let them compost down, put them around my plants, you know. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Till next time, bye now.